literally, which is their right. So we encourage this form of dispute resolution. Yeah, they will help. Give them the license. So, but Miss Apin had a different view, and largely she had been influenced by some politicians who saw this work as quote unquote, you know, unacceptable something. I don't know what they had discussed because she couldn't really put it in writing for me. But so we were punished administratively. These were called administrative sanctions to sort of deny us the capacity to win grants, attract talent, or even retain talent. Imagine walking around a place where you know that the tree is not shit. This is what they wanted to impose us. So the judge awarded 400 million as general damages because she was convinced that we had shown that had we had the license for this, I had my PC, but I got it through a different farm. My friends in Bali, in Avende, the company of this, they used to be in Avende and Madaba then. So she was convinced that this was oppression. I think the term for it is called misconduct in public office, malicious abuse of power by a person who is supposed to issue a license. Because you pay 85,000, you expect an inspection, and that's it. Not much English. So she also awarded punitive interest so that the government should be encouraged to pay quickly. That amount of money had risen to 755 million shillings by the year 2021 when the current Attorney General came in and said, no, don't pay. We had been advertised in the newspaper. It's done deal. These are people who will be paid in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three. And they had advertised a special category of law firms and lawyers and their clients, human rights and public law court awards. Those who had sued the government, especially in human rights matters. We had complained through civil society organizations to the UN that the government treats us as third-rate, awards. They start with big compensations, road constructions and things, and they just ignore us. Yet the money comes from the same fund. So the Attorney General then, Mr. Belhanga, had made a commitment that the government of Uganda would do better. It would even advertise, there would be transparency and accountability, first in, first out. So all these, backlog certificates, we call them certificates of order, all these certificates of order against the government, especially from Uganda Human Rights Commission, they had to be advertised. Like, it was obscene. People lost arms, people were tortured, and they've never been advertised. People have died. So it pains me that the biggest beneficiary there was Mr. The biggest beneficiary from that list was Mr. Rakafuzi, but in that year he had gotten a stroke. So even if the money came, it would be too late. This is money that worked over near 20 years. And rats froze out, everything changed. We had to rats froze out, everything changed. We had to and we thought of moving digital, have a complete digital offer. It's free of threats, which are of this kind, and it will allow us to take work from you, because we now have a track record. We can show you that in this kind of work, you don't have to do so much. You can work with these attorneys that have this expertise. Since you have the clients are yours, that the labor can be provided, can be shared. That was the idea. That's still the idea, but we can't really push it. So I had come back to do some sort of remaining case. It's so big. And what I found was senior lawyers called for me and they said, Isaac, you wrote a paper in 2021 that the Attorney General, is the wrong man. It's online. We read it, but we thought you were exaggerating. This is 2024 and we now live in the experience. The man is out to destroy our farm. Clients who have, say, $1 million with the government. He invites them and says, you will take the money, all I want to pay you. You've had this testimony.
I know of one, but
then we have the historical claimants, historical claimants, landlord claimants, personal claimants, Now the attorneys who did this work, who put together these classes, he has cut them out of the revenue funds by saying that he should take charge of paying their clients directly. So how is he going to issue a certificate of satisfaction against himself? But you see, these are old guys and don't know how to fight. So they have now chosen to fight through me. They say now we're not doing your interest. You are the younger, hotter blood. We want you to go to war. And I said, well, I'll go to war, but only through the political pulpits, because what they were suggesting was to sue. And I said, no, this man has even gotten all the courts, all the judges out of suffering. He controls them like they're nothing. They've earned this. Okay? So it's really crazy. You don't have a bar, you don't have a judiciary anymore. I want the country. This is a person that never had to put in any time of work like you do. I put the history, his personal history. If you follow it, he has practically lived under patronage all his life. So he doesn't really have a feeling of the blood in our veins. Those of us who practice real law and work with real clients. His attorney general, his law firm continues to do work for the government with him signing. And nobody's calling it out. So these are the things we're going to fight him toe to toe. I believe really he's my opponent. Forget about the others. They are really kids. They don't understand what's going on. They don't care about this politics. They want to continue business as usual. We want to bring, respect, pride, duty, and honor to the bar. The public has lost faith, right? Money has been availed, a lot of money, to the judiciary to improve their welfare, to improve their technology, but we don't see the outcomes, all right? So we want to be able to provide such services. I don't know if it's now there, but those who practice our country have fewer days to practice because, yeah,
Mondays are off.
yes. And it shouldn't be a contestation between bench and bar. If we digitize, these people who want to have their Mondays, Tuesdays away from registration can do it from home. It should have been done just in neighboring Kenya here. Okay, we have paid and double paid the contractor. But because we're all too busy with our own clients, no one is bailing the cat. No one is asking questions. Of course, what is he doing in the judiciary? The judiciary should be self-accounting. How is he accounting for the money we've invested in digitizing? Why don't we have a digital court? In Kenya, the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, High Court, Magistrates Courts have completely digitized. I mean, if you have a laptop, that's it. Court is a Zoom affair. It's a phone. Why don't we change these mindsets completely? So I intend to lead my fellow colleagues in a riot to fight all these, aspects of coloniality that we continue to bow down to as law. They're not law, they are culture. They are a toxic, hegemonic culture we should get rid of. But first and foremost, we campaign. And we campaign on the 4 ideals that will represent our decision making. The first one is decolonization, which I think we have demonstrated a bit. The second is demilitarization. Okay? We're a country born out of violence, and we haven't really fully negotiated the place of the military in our lives. And if we don't conduct that negotiation based on rule of law, it will remain a recurring issue. And human rights, the content of human rights, will remain, a mirage, an horizon we can't ever reach. Just recently, the Attorney General was trying to renegotiate the meaning of torture and bail. When does it ever end? Okay? When do we have principles that are solid and unchangeable? Why should the country be re-traumatized through its so-called elites? Why can't our elites accept a body of principles which is for the posterity, not for them to negotiate. It's for the posterity, for them there to obey those rules. No. So I think that's what the bar was made for, Section 3D and Section 3E, to insist to all those who hold power that some things, are not for us to renegotiate, like rule of law, human rights, equity, equality, and so on and so forth. Those things are not for us to renegotiate. Now, we go to democratization. Democracy means many things to many people, but the absolute lowest common denominator is the supremacy of the citizen, accountability of power to the citizen, providing explanation to citizens why decisions are being made in a particular way, the consultation of the citizen, public participation. I mean, I'm tired of them sending us emails in the night saying government is going to pass this law at 10. Provide your views. What can be done in that time? I guess the most important thing now we're facing is things like LDC, enrollments. Why should an act of parliament that doesn't work for people continue to remain? And yet it's simple to deal with. Okay? It's simple. We don't have to have enrollment conducted by the whole law council. It can be a chief enrollment officer, one officer. Just like registrars for companies, they register so many companies. Right?
Yeah.
The requirements they need for those things are more than even for enrollment. The chief passport officer registers and issues so many passports a day, more than law council can. The chief licensing officer issues so many logbooks and number plates, more than PCs we have. So what is special about those systems that we can't have? Okay. Again, it goes down to colonial hangovers. The idea that entry at the bar should be negotiated through bureaucracy. Okay. We intend to fight for the independence of the legal profession. That is a doctrine that hasn't been well understood. We have discovered. So much effort was put by earlier generations on independence of the judiciary. We now realize that the real threat currently today is independence of the legal profession. Just from your own testimony, Maureen, where you said that you don't feel that a farm far removed from Kampala is stable. Those from Kampala would think that a farm here is more stable.
I would think so too.
Yeah. But again, it goes down to who is making overall decisions, because when we're in Soroti, we are told that even the local community decision makers have been told to return all power to the center. So you can't even get instructions from the local government anymore. The Attorney General is making those decisions, and we don't know under what terms, which violates the significant principles to do with decentralization. So we want to be able to gather these big ticket issues from attorneys and do them as a bar, again, as it used to be. Yeah, because some attorneys are doing them individually, like I've been.
Actually, on the issue of digitalization, the other issue I don't know why we still have to go physically to law society, take transcription, and pick our receipts. And then, as up-country mostly, you have court, then you have to engage someone to help you process the whole thing. By the time you get your PC, you're exhausted. This particular year, our certificates for eligibility for getting the 20 points, I got mine in May. They kept saying it's not yet there. It's not yet there. Yet I had acquired the 20 points required, and I had to go through extreme hassle. Traveling to Kampala, you come back, they tell you the same thing, which is exhausting. Can they just create an online system? I mean, the court already exists. Let everyone have access to their certificates there, print it out, then also your PCs can be sent to your account. You print it out. Why do I have to go to Highcourt Kampala to process it?
Why should you travel to Kampala for court? That sort of nonsense nobody does anymore. We're not at war. This is not Congo. This is not. So these are the things we want to bang the table about. All right. This is why we are saying we will present a deal to the electors called business unusual, starting with how we dress, because it has nothing to do with the content of the reforms that can serve our clients. All right. I'm offering myself to be tip of the spear leader to conduct this revolution in a short time and how set the tone. A whole new generation of attorneys to continue, create a new high water mark for what it means to be a leader. Yeah. I think that's it. Yes.
Your agenda is super among really discourage status quo. You have 2 terms in office. The current status quo has been existing for over a decade and ingrained in all the spheres of what? Of life, socially, economically, politically, even the military. You are a one-man soldier and you lead by a committee. How will you be able, in the space of 2 years, to change the current status quo? What if you don't get the mandate of the committee?
Well, I think the short answer is that we don't run on a committee mandate. We run on individual mandate.
Yes.
Everybody campaigns. There's a reason why my election is the most important. All right?
Yes.
That's the first thing. The second thing is you are wrong to think that systems exist as ordained. Systems exist in people, like you. So that attitude is for you to resolve in this election. We are asking for a radical new back. That's the mandate we are seeking from the electorate. We are not compromising about that. We are telling you, and all those in the committee are watching, the mandate we are asking from the electorate is a radical new back. If you come in there and you try to something else, we will throw you out. The electorate is going to speak. People like you, we meet every day and we are telling you your days are finished. We are raising a radical new bar. People make systems, not systems make people. We are telling advocates to avoid fear, throw it away, like I did. They'll be fine.
Inshallah.
They'll be fine. So we should decolonize. We call that decolonize the mindsets. Okay? We should completely decolonize our mindsets and go down to the substance of what is justice. It has nothing to do with law or lawyers. These people can just as well, on their own, provide for themselves justice. They don't need us. Well, his father should understand this is a campaign. He can come and say to me himself, we are campaigning about the future. Well, you have to do it yourself. You have to do it yourself. We are here to challenge such things. Such things. We are here to challenge. Such things. These are people's courts. What's wrong? What's wrong? This is our courts. This is an important business. It takes only 1 hour. I want the registrar to come and debate his point here. Days are finished. I wish he could call me to his chambers and I bang his table. And he understands that these people won't wait. So I think you have seen for yourself. You tell me that such cowards won't run. They must run out of the judiciary. Because we will use the 1 or 2 years that we have to get it done. We will chase these hyenas, like this registrar in Tororo. We will chase them out. We are going to war. We are going to war with them. Old systems, challenging new systems. We are not here to steal. We are here to do important activity.
Yes, sounds good.
We are progressing well until the registrar brought no sense in our conversation. And the thing that we must meet all the lawyers, justice is important for them as well. Okay? We don't exist without clients. They must understand. They must understand what slows down business. What slows down, what makes justice so mystical, as if it's priests who do it. It's humans. Okay? Justice is adversarial. Court is a battle zone. And registrars must be fair referees, servants of the people, not demigods. I reject that order. Well, I mean, nominated candidate. Absolute nonsense.
Sorry for the interruption, thanks.
No, I'm familiar.
Yes.
I'm familiar with ejection throughout all my career. And I'm running as an ejected person, as I've told you. We're running nothing. Okay? They have ejected us from every space. So the only space we are left to take is the pulpit in the law. This space they can't take. He will have to receive me as president of the society next month. He will. He will. And I will insist on a parade. Anyone with questions?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
My question would be, I would want to know your view on the issue to do with cross-border practice. What is your view about the issue of cross-border practice? Many lawyers are looking into expanding their horizon in East Africa.
I personally practice in the East African Court of Justice because this court comes to it. Completely. You try to arrest me. This person thinks he can score points on me. In Kampala, maybe somebody will give him some mileage. So personally, I am already even a resident of Tanzania. Okay? I would, that is how I take care of my family. But many of our colleagues are still not yet shown what I call the destiny. So this election is about exposing both the history of the bar and the destiny of the bar. The destiny of the bar is in cross-border practice. It's in colleagues coming in and us going into their areas. Now, in this moment, what we have to deal with is we have to deal with fear. We have to put fear from ourselves, put it on the table and discuss it. The problem is we have old dead wood advocates, magistrates, judges, politicians that have stopped this conversation from happening. We signed the cross-border practice law a long time ago, 22 years ago. But we don't even encourage it. My young sister here has a chance to take business from what's the town?
We actually get, we always get some clients from of course, but then there are some challenges because most of them are business owners that have trucks. Their trucks impounded or whatnot. Yeah, but then you encounter a challenge. The truck has been impounded across, and they're telling you the revenue authority of Kenya. The challenge of the truck, and maybe there is a tax that is also this side.
Yes, we are live in Tororo. Yes, for presidential, presidential campaign.
So, further than today, we look at a time called 2060, 40 years from now. When young lawyers join the bar in the year 2060, what kind of bar you think they'll find? You really think they'll find ourselves still tied to history? It's quite possible, if these attitudes remain, they'll find us stuck in time, while the rest of the world has moved on. I mean, you saw Chinatown? What stops Chinatown being legal? It's already here in the form of AI. It hasn't just announced. but it's already here. Okay? So we have to seriously, deal with the backlog of reforms that we had to do 40 years ago, finish them and start on a whole new, reforms that are forward-looking. So the process has got to start. There has to be a generation that says we are a cut-off generation. We will deal with every backlog in decolonization. We will deal with every backlog in demilitarization. We will deal with every backlog in democratization. We will deal with every backlog for digital transformation, so we can begin to compete fairly and equally and aggressively with others in the promised new world. It's existential for young people. I can't say this enough. The old people have made a home in the status quo. They are comfortable with ever decreasing margins of income. Their kids probably afford the graduate and everything. But it's you young people, you young ones, who have to ask yourself whether you're not making a mistake staying in the longer than a decade. I practice public and human rights, and that involves many anti-corruption, discipline. But increasingly, we are seeing attorneys literally practicing corruption. It's impossible. They would even like to work in income, but what do you do if the entire political class, economic class, has reduced itself to stealing from the public taxpayer? Do you become a judge? Do you become an angel? So these are problems. And there's a law called the Anti-Money Laundering Act, in which we are being called agents. And apparently we're supposed to report suspicious transactions. So the future is very tricky. Are we supposed to report on crimes? Are we supposed to question them? So there are many challenges, which we have to resolve. And we can resolve in smaller and smaller groups. Younger people have all the answers. But the hygiene problems are not, we've been locked out of the hygiene, the institutional block building. And there's only so much success you can do. I have been a high performing attorney. I have won everything. I'm satisfied with what I've won. But I can't make a change now. My own seniors have agreed that, Isaac, imagine if you hadn't stood, what would be the choices we have to elect leader of the bar? Okay, of course there are those, we call them what? Moderates. They're not moderates, they're fundamentalists. They pretend that they are more, but they are fundamentalists because they are fundamentally opposed to even the idea of change. Okay? Yet they have subscribed to an oath, to democracy, which involves the right of choice. Giving everybody their rights.
Prefer you to an extremist or a radical. That's why I'm saying maybe they are moderates.
Yes, but they are
For
the
me,
most
I'm grateful
extreme.
that you are,
They are the most extreme.
on the ballot. We need such caliber.
If you're talking about moderates, I am the most moderate, right? Because I am, I have decided to wear a billboard of society into the law fraternity, and outside the law fraternity, I am an attorney. The public are not fooled. When they hear me speak, they understand that that's a law. That's a law. They are not fooled. So.
Councillor Jackie.
Oh, Jackie.
Good morning.
Good morning. We were excited to meet you. So, look, there is a whole A to Z of how to get the bar into cross-border practice, but it all opens with political will, and the government won't lead that path, okay? Because the bar is independent at the end of the day, okay? There's something called a mutual legal assistance agreement. It has to be between the two bars, Yes. Reciprocity. So there's no role for government. So the question must be, what have the older generations of lawyers been fearing? And will we have the courage to sign up
That's
to cross-border practice.
and that's why we need a legal entity to lead that part. Because it has been closed by the more senior lawyers who have been there before us have really closed down the space. We don't want, for example,
Freedom of movement of labor.
yes, especially in the legal field.
Yet for them, they have already brought London law firms here. DLP, Piper, Web Romans,
Yes.
Deloitte, and everything. But they don't want you to get the same access. And those issues now become available when we have power. And we can center you in the decision making. Rachel, we are taking questions. What does a radical new back mean for you? What should it mean for you?
I feel like it should open platform where young
Sorry, I called
lawyers
you Rachel. But Jackie. Yeah, Rachel is now my friend from Soroti.